Welcome to Charles Travels, the podcast where we explore the most incredible destinations and stories from around the world. I'm your host, Charles, and I'm thrilled to have you joining me on this journey today. As we embark on a new episode, we're taking you to the majestic landscapes of Nepal, a country nestled in the Himalayas, where the air is crisp and the culture is rich. But today's story isn't just about breathtaking vistas or ancient traditions. It's about the people who call this land home and their struggle to preserve their way of life. Deep within the Nepalese countryside lies a small village called Jhumlabang, where the community has lived in harmony with nature for generations. The villagers have always relied on the forest for their livelihood, collecting medicinal plants, fungi, and other essential resources. One such resident is Til Kumari BK, who ventures into the forest to forage for ingredients that will help her family thrive. However, the tranquility of this village is under threat. A large-scale iron mining project, led by the company Ramesh Steels, has been approved, and the community is worried about the devastating impact it could have on their environment, health, and traditions. The mine's construction would not only destroy the forest ecosystem, but also displace families and disrupt the delicate balance of the local wildlife. As we delve deeper into this story, we'll hear from experts, activists, and community members who are fighting to protect their rights and preserve the natural beauty of Jhumlabang. We'll explore the complexities of development versus conservation and examine the role of international laws and agreements in safeguarding indigenous communities' rights. The fate of Jhumlabang hangs in the balance as the villagers face an uncertain future. Will their voices be heard, or will the lure of economic growth silence their concerns? The story of Jhumlabang is a powerful reminder of the importance of responsible development and the need to prioritize environmental sustainability and social justice. We'll be right back with more fascinating travel adventures on Charles Travels. Welcome back to Charles Travels. As we continue our journey through the fascinating world of human connection and cultural shifts, I'd like to take you to a place where generations collide, the realm of nonverbal communication. Today, we're going to explore a phenomenon that's been making waves among young people and leaving their elders bewildered, the Gen Z stare. Now, if you're familiar with this term, you might be nodding your head in recognition. For those who aren't, let me paint a picture for you. Imagine being in a conversation with someone from a younger generation, asking them a question or seeking their opinion, and instead of getting a verbal response, you're met with a blank, unblinking stare. It's as if they're saying, "I'm not going to dignify that question with an answer." This, my friends, is the Gen Z stare. According to social researcher Mark McCrindle, this phenomenon is more than just rudeness. It's a reflection of how Zoomers, people born between 1997 and 2012, have grown up in a digital age where information is readily available at their fingertips. They've been conditioned to expect instant answers and solutions, and when they encounter someone who doesn't share that same expectation, they can become, well, let's just say, unimpressed. I must admit, as I delve deeper into this topic, I found myself both intrigued and amused by the Gen Z stare. It's a masterclass in nonverbal communication, really, a way of saying, "I'm not interested in engaging with you on this level," without actually saying a word. And yet, for those on the receiving end of this stare, it can be quite disconcerting. As one Zoomer, known as Kilo Taba, so eloquently put it, "If you're being an idiot, I'm going to stare at you." Now, that might sound harsh, but it's also refreshingly honest. In a world where we're constantly bombarded with information and stimuli, perhaps the Gen Z stare is simply a way of filtering out what's not worth their time or energy. As I reflect on this phenomenon, I'm reminded of the importance of empathy and understanding in bridging the gap between generations. We might not always see eye to eye, but by taking the time to listen and learn from each other, we can build connections that transcend age and cultural boundaries. So, the next time you encounter the Gen Z stare, take a deep breath, and instead of feeling insulted or judged, try to see it as an opportunity to understand where the other person is coming from. Who knows? You might just learn something new, and perhaps even discover a new way of communicating that's more efficient, authentic, and effective. Stay tuned for our final story of the day, right here on Charles Travels. We'll be exploring another fascinating topic that will take you on a journey to unexpected places and introduce you to remarkable people who are making a difference in their own unique ways. Until then, keep traveling, and remember, every encounter is an opportunity to learn, grow, and connect with the world around us. Welcome back to Charles Travels, dear listeners. As we close out today's journey, I'd like to take you to the nation's capital, where a story of tradition and politics is unfolding. You may have heard about the blue slip rule, a century-old practice that allows home state senators to weigh in on judicial nominees from their states. Recently, President Trump has been vocal about his opposition to this tradition, calling it stupid and outdated. As I delve into this story, I'm reminded of the intricate web of politics and power that shapes our country's institutions. The blue slip rule, which has been in place since 1907, is meant to provide a check on the president's nominees, ensuring that they have the support of their home state senators. However, President Trump argues that this practice is unfair, particularly when it comes to Republican nominees in states with Democratic senators. I'd like to take a step back and consider the human side of this story. Behind the headlines and the partisan rhetoric, there are real people whose lives and careers are being affected by this debate. The president's nominees, who have been deemed highly respected and dedicated public servants, are facing uncertainty and potential rejection due to the blue slip rule. Meanwhile, senators like Chuck Grassley, who has defended the tradition, are working to balance their responsibilities as lawmakers with the demands of their constituents. As I travel across this country, I'm constantly reminded of the complexities and nuances of American politics. The blue slip rule may seem like an arcane tradition to some, but it represents a fundamental aspect of our system, the tension between power and accountability. As we navigate these complexities, it's essential to remember that there are no easy answers, only difficult choices and competing values. As I close out today's podcast, I'm left with more questions than answers. What does the future hold for the blue slip rule? Will President Trump's criticism lead to changes in the way judicial nominees are confirmed? And what implications will this have for the balance of power in our country? That's all for today's Charles Travels. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and until next time, keep on traveling. Whether you're exploring the corridors of power or the backroads of America, I invite you to join me on this journey of discovery and exploration. Until we meet again, farewell and happy travels.